Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over our update for the month of September. And when I was thinking about making this video, I was like, do I really have enough to talk about for September? And as I went through everything, I was like, wow, I really do have a lot to say. So let's get started. And if you are new here, I'm a homeschooling mom. I have 2 kids at home. My daughter's in 5th grade and my son is 3. All right, so let's go over some of the things that have been working really well. One is writing and rhetoric. I love this curriculum, you guys. I just love it so much. I'm really hoping that the next levels continue to be as great as this one, because this has been one of my favorite curriculums that I've ever encountered. Granted, I'm only on my 2nd year of homeschooling, but this is awesome. If you've watched my 5th grade curriculum video, you know that I also do a program called Mostos Press Literature, and I love it, and I don't want to give it up, but it is time consuming. So I've kind of had to finagle things to make everything work. We do a 4-day school week. So on the first week, Monday through Thursday, we'll do writing and rhetoric. And then the next week, we'll do writing and rhetoric on Monday, because generally each lesson I find takes 4 to 5 days to do. And then the last 3 days of the week, we'll work on Mostos Press Literature. And that works out great because Mostos has writing elements in it. I found that writing and rhetoric has a lot of other elements in it besides writing that I really enjoyed. It talks about some grammar elements, some vocabulary elements, restructuring of sentences. There's a lot in this curriculum other than just writing. So on the week that I'm doing Mostos, I do have a writing project. That's more of a creative project. I'm missing some of those elements that are included in writing and rhetoric. And as I am not willing to give up Mostos, this is what I've done to kind of remedy that. I had a friend who recommended this to me. This is called Sentence Combining. This has been awesome because what this does is let me show you a beginning and an end. Here's a sample from the beginning of the sentences. And you'll take these sentences and you'll make them into 1 or 2 sentences that are clear and concise. Here's as you get further into the curriculum. So you're taking these sentences and you're combining them to be grammatically correct. And I really enjoyed this. So I add this in, as well as I showed you guys in my 1-month update that I've included paragraph editing. And in it, I talked about how I have 2 paragraphs that are just basic editing. And we do these the week of writing and rhetoric because I don't feel like we need any more than just basic editing, because we're getting a lot from our grammar curriculum and writing and rhetoric. But on Mostos weeks, I will do the compound sentences along with this longer paragraph where you're editing, but you're also doing some sort of a compound sentence here. And there's a lot of different questions here: synonyms, vocabulary, adverbs. So it has more than just your basic editing paragraph. And I feel like between this and the combining sentences, it has pulled in what I was missing in writing and rhetoric on the Mostos weeks. And so the benefit of Mostos is not only the reading comprehension, the great conversations we have, because if you haven't seen my Mostos video, go check it out. It's amazing curriculum. These stories teach so much about morals and empathy and just really great life lessons that I'm not willing to give up those discussions. And I really enjoy the creative prompts and projects that go along with it. I feel like that's a really fun element that maybe writing and rhetoric doesn't include. So that's been a really nice addition to round that out. Speaking of language arts, to me, the most fundamental part of homeschool is reading, writing, and math. And vocabulary is a very big subject that touches both reading and writing, because if you have a great vocabulary, you can understand more complex reading. You can just dive deeper into these worlds and have a better understanding. And for vocabulary for writing, having a very diverse vocabulary really assists you in being able to write well. I think it's one of the major key components that is needed in a good writer. So that's very important to me. And the vocabulary that I had before was word ladders and word roots. And word roots was grade 3 to 4. It's the beginning. So let's start with word ladders. Word ladders is great. This isn't what I would consider a full vocabulary curriculum though. This covers everything. When it says it's reading, vocabulary, spelling, and phonics, it really is. So it does have some vocabulary elements in it, but it's a lot more. So this on its own isn't enough for me. And word roots, I know this is so popular and I feel bad saying it, but I don't like it and my daughter doesn't like it. She struggles with this. I don't know if it's the way that it's being presented. Even if this was going well, this does not encompass what I'm looking for in a vocabulary curriculum. I know a lot of people have talked about how vocabulary is really only learned through reading and reading it in context. And I do feel like there's value in that. But your basic vocabulary curriculum, where you have synonyms, antonyms, idioms, conjunctions, all of these things, I feel like play a really key role and are very important. And I wasn't finding that. So I decided I wasn't going to give up on word roots or word ladders, but I found the same company that makes word ladders makes 240 vocabulary words kids need to know. And this has everything I'm looking for in it. It has synonyms, antonyms, compound words, homophones, words from other cultures, clips, blends, collective nouns, acronyms, funny words, word stories, British English, prefixes, suffixes. This has what I'm looking for in it. So here's an example of a page. It seems very straightforward and basic. Last year we used Spectrum vocabulary, which I loved their vocabulary. And I've heard that they're revamping it. So I almost got that, but I wanted to try something different and see about this. We've only done this a few days and she's already liked it and I really like what I'm seeing. In the mornings for her independent work, she'll do spelling you see, and then one day she'll do the 240 vocabulary words. The next day she'll do word roots, and then she'll do word ladders. And then depending on if we're doing Mostos or writing in Rhetoric, she'll do the shorter editing paragraph or the longer one that has more elements to it. So that's kind of how we're breaking everything up. All right, so next let's talk about the read alouds this month. We got pretty far into The Little House on Rocky Ridge, almost to 200 pages out of I think 335. And we DNF'd this. I kept pushing my daughter to go through it because we had such a good experience with the Little House on the Prairie series, but she felt like it was boring and she couldn't get into the story. I mean, it wasn't on the same level as Little House on the Prairie, so I finally just let it go. If she wants to come back to it, it'll be on her bookshelf. But we also, before we started that, we had started reading Wish. This is a story about a 5th grader where the dad is in jail for fighting and other issues, and the mom is very depressed and doesn't get out of bed, so she has to go live with her aunt and uncle. And what I didn't like about this, I mean, we got pretty far to page 70, and is how she talked and how negative she was. That was really hard for me. I feel like the read alouds and the things that my daughter is digesting should bring in positive elements. And this was very negative. And it also talked about subjects that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with her reading and normalizing. I know these things happen in the world, but in a read aloud that's supposed to be a joyful experience, this was not something that I wanted to do. So we stopped reading this and DNF this as well. So another book that I don't have to show you is A Little Princess. We did not get the abridged version. And I don't know if you guys have seen The Little Princess. I think it was made in the 90s. I love it. I grew up on it. It's literally one of my favorite movies still. It just makes me so happy every time I watch it. I really wanted to read this book with her and watch the movie. But the old English language terms that were being used were going over her head completely. She wasn't getting anything out of it. She wasn't understanding. I didn't want her to have a bad taste in her mouth about the book because I would like to read it with her later in middle school or high school and get everything we can out of it. So I just stopped and we watched the movie, which was great. So now we're moving into our October book I had, The Griffins of Castle Carey, and we're starting this tonight. So I'll keep you posted on how this goes, but I'm really looking forward to it and meeting that whole Halloween theme. Speaking of Halloween, I did make a Halloween video on what curriculum we're using. And so far we've done 2 topics on A Child's Guide to All Things Spooky. We've done the history of Halloween and the history of the jack-o'-lantern, and we really enjoyed those. And I got some books for this from the library to go with the units that we're doing. One is this Behind the Legends Werewolves. We also got Behind the Legends The Loch Ness Monster. And then we've got this monster book. And this monster book has the vampires, it has the zombies, it has several of the topics. The reading is included in this book. So I'm really looking forward to that. The next unit that we're doing is our Area 51. We did buy this one, Where's Area 51? We do that twice a week and she's been absolutely loving it. So far that's going really well, but I'll let you know in my October update how everything went. In my 5th grade curriculum video, I showed you this book, Mindful Affirmations and Activities. This book, I love it. I love it so much. It has so many amazing quotes in it, but there's more quotes and less activities than I would like. So what I've done to utilize it is what we'll do, like here's an example of the page. Don't give up, you can do this. Talk to yourself like you would talk to someone you love, Brené Brown. I am kind to myself. The relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship you have, Jane Travis. Then it talks about being kind to yourself. It has pages like this all over and great quotes. So what we'll do is she can color it, we'll read it, and we'll discuss it. What does that mean? What does that mean to her? And it's been actually so great, you guys. I mean, for just throwing this together, see, here's another topic. I love myself. And here's some really great quotes. In fact, I'm thinking of having her copy work be some of these quotes. I'll keep you posted on that. But our conversations from this have been really great and exactly what I was looking for. So if there is an activity, she will do it there, or she'll just color the pages where we talk about it. But this has been a surprisingly great change in how we're using this. I thought I wasn't going to have anything to say, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a long video, but if you've stuck through now, I really appreciate it. I love talking about all things homeschool. It's one of my favorite things. Well, if you have any questions, suggestions of anything we talked about, or just want to say hi, I'd love to talk to you in the comments. All right, see you later, guys.